You saw the title, so you know today we're doing an exclusive interview with the CEO of Playermint's Grant Scholl. I don't want to keep anyone waiting, so let's get right into the exclusive interview.
My name is Grant Scholl, CEO and co-founder of Playermint. Playermint is a Cardano toolkit to power the metaverse economy, and that's everything from creating game assets, being able to trade game assets with the blockchain, earning cryptocurrency, all within the metaverse. And we're focused on the Fortnite Epic Games metaverse. So they're in the process of moving Fortnite from being a game to a metaverse platform, kind of like what Roblox is doing. So like Fortnite and Roblox are going after the metaverse concept. Facebook is also in the race. And it's going to require a value layer, like an asset layer for commerce and creating assets. And the blockchain is the perfect tool to do that. So we're in this sweet spot right now of all these different things coming together at one time, of these metaverse systems, the blockchain tech starting to mature to a point where it can handle that type of thing. So we're kind of like sitting there and combining those two things and powering a metaverse economy.
Of course. And so from my understanding of it, a metaverse is really just when a singular platform kind of transcends the like single game or the single platform, and then the goal becomes more of like an open source creation platform.
Yeah, exactly. Open source creation platform. There's different components to it. So you've also got the augmented reality part of it. So on one side, you have the entirely virtual environments, which is like what Epic Games and Roblox are going after, of creating a shared virtual space for people to create and build. And you have one identity that follows you throughout all those virtual experiences. And then there's also the augmented reality part of it. So it's estimated that by 2022, Apple is going to have their Apple glasses. It's like augmented reality glasses. And then Facebook is partnered with Ray-Bans to create their alternative to that. Like Apple has a pretty cool advantage where they might be able to turn your phone into basically a power brick for your Apple Glass, so that it doesn't have to, it can be kind of more fashionable because it doesn't have to have all that processing on it itself. But so like we're kind of moving from a web-based economy, or a web-based environment, not economy, web-based environment, to a virtual space. Like the web becomes a more virtual experience than it was before, and it kind of connects virtual experiences and then also the real world. And I think, it's all these different groups are working on it together, and there's all these different components. So like, I don't think anybody knows what it's going to look like. Like any one person knows, just like no one person knew like what the internet would look like and when it got developed out, but everyone's kind of working together to build what everyone sees as the metaverse, which is kind of like the next stage of the internet.
Yeah, and so from my understanding as well, Playermint aims to help facilitate the development of that by giving a universal transactable currency to that developing space.
Yeah, so we have a cryptocurrency called PMX. It's kind of like a resource or a fuel that runs the system. So it's also like a currency. So it's used in trade within it for digital items. It's used to mint items. So if you want to create a digital asset, like say you want to, say like Ferrari wants to mint 5 Ferrari cars in the metaverse, or say you want to have a concert, like how Travis Scott had his concert where 20 million people attended in Fortnite. If some artist wants to have a concert, then they could use Playermint to mint 50 million tickets to the event. They become NFT tokens, and then those tokens allow you to enter. And then there can also be NFTs that are of all the memorabilia from the event. and all these things like that, or like you could have like a Fortnite or like a game tournament, like a world championship, and then the players mint the like their weapons that they're playing with in the tournament, and then at the end, like whoever wins can auction off those items, and then the blockchain turns them into scarce, unique assets that have that historical provenance value maintained in them.
Very
So
interesting.
yeah, it's like Playermint is really about providing a toolkit to power the metaverse economy through blockchain technology.
So it sounds like right now the emphasis is video games because that's the part of the industry that's easy to work with and willing to work alongside you guys. And the goal is to eventually have things like concerts, exclusive, you mentioned Ferrari as an example, and I think that's really exciting and it brings up a very interesting point of
Like Forza, for example. So like say you have say like in the Epic Games metaverse, what they're trying to create is it's more of like an application system or like a platform for games to be developed, and they want it to be as profitable to build on this platform as it is to release a game on Xbox or whatever other platform. So someone like Forza could come and like create a race car game, and then they could use Playermint to mint cars so that they become unique and scarce and ownable assets. So like the big innovation in gaming for blockchain is the fact that now digital assets are becoming ownable, as where before they were all running on these centralized databases where like whoever's running that database is controlling all of the assets. So what that means is there's no scarcity because whoever has monopoly over that system can instantly create duplicates whenever they want, and they can also take it away, and like they have control of all of it. And then blockchain like decentralizes that so that you now have property rights and supply and demand scarcity. It basically turns digital commodities into like it gives digital commodities the properties of physical commodities in a lot of ways.
very
And
interesting. That kind of brings up a question for me, and that's so if the ownership of these digital assets, let's say these weapon skins for Fortnite or character skins for Fortnite, if they're no longer owned essentially in the Epic Games servers, now they're on the decentralized blockchain technology. That kind of raises the question in conjunction with Epic Games aiming for a more metaverse approach to Fortnite. Does that mean that we could potentially see skins being a skin earned in one game being able to be used and applied in another?
yeah, I mean, yeah, they're the environment that they're trying to create is one where it's the graphics aren't even confined to one system. So you could move between different virtual worlds and the graphics be entirely different. So like they're giving everybody the same tools that Epic Games uses to build Fortnite to basically build whatever they want. And so you could change like all of the graphics to basically like look however you want them to look. And then you could have one player identity that can move between the different experiences. So like you could have like a Marvel theme skin or like character that you use to go across all these different virtual experiences. And like the blockchain also makes it easy for the items to be interoperable between the different experiences as well.
I think that brings a really good experience to the gamer, allowing them to kind of create the avatar that they want and then not have to worry about, let's say I've put a lot of time into one game, you've put a lot of time into the other game, and now neither of us really want to start a new game over. Now we have a way to still play together and still use the loot or gear as well as the experience that we've earned while playing together.
Yeah, and it becomes a lot easier to sell those items on a secondary market As where before you needed permission to do that, or you needed it to be within a confined system. As we're now these blockchain assets, like you can take them and sell them really anywhere, like very seamlessly.
Something I really like about the project is that currently, and from personal experience, to be able to transact the majority of uh, items, skins, and whatnot in video games, unless the game has a built-in marketplace, you quickly run into the problem of um, technically, based on the user agreement guidelines of the game, illegal activity when it comes to if you were looking to sell a skin for real world money, it's actually a breach of the user agreement. And with the blockchain technology being implemented into gaming, it's actually a great way, in my opinion, to kind of circumvent that illicit trade that is kind of naturally occurring in the gamer economy.
Yeah, and the player will also like own it themselves. So it's like UGC, or like user generated content, is really big in like Roblox, for example. Like if you create this UGC, but then all of that UGC is like technically owned by Roblox, the company, and they're kind of allowing you to facilitate us, where this allows the players to power the economy themselves and like take control of it themselves and build it out and have those property rights and ownership of the items and the ability to trade them, and have like uniqueness and all these things.
And as well, along with this sense of community, these items being more, I feel like on the community side, on the gamer side of the spectrum, as opposed to being owned uh, by the companies making the games, I feel like certain items or certain content creators of items can gain notoriety that they currently aren't necessarily able to do.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it creates, it's a great opportunity for creatives. I think you're gonna, like, we've started to see like the glimpse of creative type of people, like artists and stuff, starting to have virtual events. I think a lot of it has been like concerts. And I think like as these kind of virtual environments are developed out a little bit more, like in the um, coming next few years, there'll be just an explosion of those type of virtual events, like concerts or like big gatherings and like influencer events. And um, it's a great opportunity to be able to build a community, and like that'll be the case for brands too, like um, having your brand have a place in the metaverse, and like having like a Taco Bell headquarters in the metaverse, like whatever the case may be.
Of course, it definitely makes me think of a lot of trends we've been seeing in pop culture of the idea of having this kind of, you put your glasses on and the world is very different, or you like enter into like the virtual metaverse. And there's definitely the like, I would say it's hard to gauge the market cap, of course, but multi-million to billion-dollar question of how is the trade in this new world essentially going to be facilitated?
Yeah, I mean, like to give you some perspective on the numbers right now, the virtual goods economy, so like skins and all these type of things, is about $50 billion. A lot of the activity happens in gray markets, because that's kind of where players are pushed right now, because the dynamics of being able to trade are so difficult, that a lot of it is pushed into these dark markets. But it's estimated to be around $50 billion, and like that trajectory is accelerating really fast now that a lot of the games are free to play, and like they're making all of their money off of the items themselves, like the skins themselves. um, and like the blockchain technology, like NFTs and crypto, is just going to completely send that on a rocket ship, because now all of these virtual items are going to be actually owned by the people. So it's like, if I actually own the items that I'm working for or I'm accumulating, they're going to have more value or like more impact to me. And then also their ability to capture like cultural value, and like supply and demand dynamics increases exponentially as well. So this market is like really in a sweet spot of the virtual goods economy in general taking off exponentially, and then also getting this entirely new tool set that is a perfect match for it.
So to reiterate, there's a $50 billion global economy that is right now mostly being forced to the fringes of essentially illicit trade, and that's the main goal of what we're trying to tackle with Playermints.
Yeah. Playermint is making it easy for people to create assets on the blockchain, create game assets, trade them. So like as before, where you need some like right now, how it works in most games is you buy the item on the primary market. It's like, say you're like playing World of Warcraft or something, you buy the item, and then once you go to sell it, you need to go to someone who's going to facilitate the trust between like the buyer and the seller.
Essentially, an escrow company.
Yeah, an escrow company. And like what blockchain allows the players to do is automate that process so that all of the trading can be player to player and not have to rely on that. So like that's one of the things that Playermint allows, is that easy facilitation of the items.
And for those viewers that aren't super well versed in, let's say, World of Warcraft or other in-game economies, these, as we kind of identified as like escrow companies, or these people that help facilitate the trade, the safe trade of items between two parties, generally have, a fair amount of, you have to pay in, like, with in-game gold or other items that are correlated to time to gather those items to kind of make sure that the trade is facilitated well, or otherwise you have to take the risk of trading directly, like interpersonally, and the risk of being scammed there is very high.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just interesting because in the video game world and in digital worlds and digital interactions, a lot of things that in the real world or in like the physical world are considered essentially illegal, like taking exorbitant fees for facilitating escrow. There's obviously no one checking how, like, there's no one actually monitoring in-game economies, and this can lead to a lot of headaches for gamers because game developers, while they're very well versed at creating video games and creating lore and enjoyable worlds, most of them don't have very well versed economic backgrounds. And also, the other side of that is that you don't necessarily need to create a market with derivatives and equities and futures and all of that to create a fun game. So to create a balanced economy inside of an isolated game is usually an afterthought for creators, and that kind of leaves the players as the ones caught in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, and I think you're going to start to also see the player start to become like the forefront of the game economies. So like as you start to move more towards these metaverse platforms that companies like Roblox and Epic Games are chasing after, the players themselves become kind of the front runner, like the people that are pushing the economy. So you're seeing that with like Roblox, with UGC, and like the items that the players create, and that then they then sell to other players. So it's like a user generated economy. And I think like that trend continues to accelerate. And then blockchain takes that a step further and gives the ownership of those things to the players. Like they actually own it themselves, the things that they're creating. So like you were saying, like the gamers are kind of stuck in that weird spot, or they have been, and now they're starting to be pushed towards the front of the economy of these games.
I think it's really great to see the emphasis on the player and the emphasis on their ability to somewhat drive the narratives and to kind of, it's almost in a way unionizing or collectivizing, the will of the player and allowing them to kind of create the changes that they want to see in the worlds that they're playing in.
Yeah, and brands as well. So it's going to be like all different brands participating, whether that be Marvel, McDonald's, whatever. Like it's going to be like this is an entirely new medium. Like the metaverse is an entirely new entertainment and marketing and medium for creativity. So it's players, but it's also brands, whether that be personal brands like artists or brands that produce products that we use. So it's really like an open environment for creativity and creation, and blockchain is just the perfect tool for that.
Now, the question that my inner child is just dying to ask is, with Playermints, is it feasible to earn money by playing video games with this technology?
Yeah, so we have there's a cryptocurrency called PMX, which is the heart of it, and it's what's used to mint the items and trade the different items. And then how PMX comes into existence is by mining. So as players get kills in Fortnite, they're going to be mining PMX by playing the game, and then this resource is then needed for all of these things. So then the demand is coming from the fact that you need it. People need it in order to mint all these items or create these items, and then also to facilitate trade. And then the creation of it comes from playing the game. So in that sense, you're getting paid to play video games.
That's amazing, because currently with the way video games, at least the way playing video games can be monetized, to my current understanding, is that it's really also based around your personality. Because if you want to make money currently by playing video games, it would involve live streaming on a platform such as Twitch, or making video game content, or like video game content through YouTube, whether that be tutorials or playthroughs or however that may appear. And for those gamers that may be a little bit more introverted or may not have a good microphone or have other like barriers to access of monetizing their gameplay, I see PMX as a really great way of allowing those players that are really skilled and have practiced that skill, in some cases for many hours a day, to still benefit in ways that, maybe more charismatic or more well-equipped individuals have been able to do previously.
Yeah, or if it's not coming from being charismatic, then it's coming from like having to bet money. So it's coming from, I'm going to bet you this amount of money, and then you're like taking on some kind of risk in order to potentially make a profit, which is for one, illegal for people that are underage for skill-based betting, and then also there's a number of states that don't allow skill-based betting. So this allows you a way to monetize your in-game performance or your skill without having to bet money. So like you still have to be good to like the better you are, the more that you're going to be able to earn. But you don't have to like put up that upfront risk like you normally would.
Sure. So with gamers that are really high skilled, let's say people that are playing for like more than like 3 or 4 hours a day, maybe like people that are really into it and that are maybe in the top like 1 to 5% of the community. In the current iteration or the current build of Playermints, what could those players really be expected? How much PMX could they be expecting to earn from their performance?
So the bigger that the network gets, the more people are going to earn. So the bigger that the economy gets, the bigger that the metaverse economy that Playermint is running and that PMX is being used to run, then the more valuable it's going to become. So just like with like Bitcoin mining, it's like the bigger that the network gets, the more profitable that Bitcoin mining becomes. So, I mean, we're hoping to get to a point where there's millions of dollars worth of PMX a year being given out to players for earning this digital resource.
So the collective prize pool will grow as the player base grows.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's one of the really cool things about it is as the network grows or as the economy around it grows, and as the user base grows, then the value of PMX itself naturally grows because there's more demand in the system. There's more players. So then the reward pool, at least in dollar terms, is able to grow with the user base, even though the supply isn't of PMX isn't like expanding to like match that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So say I really like the project and I really want to own some PMX because I think that fundamentally, let's say 10 years from now, uh, that it'll outpace the S&P 500 or whatever. Like say I'm looking at it from an investor standpoint. Do I have to play Fortnite to get my hands on PMX, or is this available on exchanges such as Uniswap?
Yeah, you'll be able to go and buy it on an exchange like you would any other crypto. It's totally designed to be for gamers. So like there's not going to be any ICO or like IDO. Like the initial value is just zero, and then all of the value is just going to come from the utility of it within the system. So like people actually needing it within the system. Um, so it's not a investment vehicle. It's like a resource within this system that people that like the gamers need to participate within this environment. So
I see, and that protects it from being exploited in ways that other investment vehicles can be, such as like a pump and dump or something.
yeah, I mean, there definitely won't be any pumping and dumping. And like I
Good to
mean like
hear.
there won't even be a like ICO like the initial starting price is going to be zero, which we haven't seen since Bitcoin. Um, and then the goal is to just increasingly decentralize the system so that like eventually PMX will also become the governance token of the system itself. So like you think of if Playermint is this tool set that's powering the metaverse economy, then as the system becomes more and more decentralized, then PMX becomes the governance token that people are using to govern the system, kind of like a uni token.
Very interesting. And that also opens the possibilities of, say, for a game developer, using PMX to do anything from outsourcing code that they need help with to purchasing texture packs that have been pre-generated to purchasing pre-existing items maybe and implementing them directly into their game.
Yeah, and what's really cool too is Cardano has like they're building a bunch of governance tools. So like decentralized treasury systems, decentralized voting systems for governance, and then those tools can be used by the applications that run on Cardano. So like we'll be looking to use a lot of those tools to make the decentralization process fast and efficient and like very high quality. So that's like one of the many reasons that we've chosen to go with Cardano as our blockchain.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think that the Cardano blockchain really has a lot of the support tools and support structures available for creators to kind of. It's a little less free based from what I've seen of a lot of other blockchains.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits. I think, especially for us. I mean, it was either between that or Ethereum, and we decided to go with Cardano.
Very nice. I think that the choice will definitely pay off in the future.
I think so too.
Now, I don't want to have you talk about anything that you necessarily don't want to or can't, but I wanted to definitely ask about the roadmap and how you see things rolling out in the future.
Yeah, so we're gonna be announcing a lot of that stuff pretty soon. We got a lot of things that we're working on in the background, and before we give any public dates, we want to make sure that we have everything to where we know we're going to release at those points. Like we're going to hit those points. Like in the crypto space, there's a lot of like setting public dates and then not being able to fulfill those dates. So we want to make sure that when we give a date publicly, that's the date that it's going to happen on. So we're getting very close. Like we're going to be announcing things coming up pretty soon, but we just want to make sure that we don't miss anything.
I think that's going to be really refreshing for the gamer community that's used to gaming developers over-promising and under-delivering on their titles. I think it's nice to see a fresh approach to that.
Yeah, also like the blockchain space as well.
Of course, yeah. I've seen multiple projects just in the past 2 months publish roadmaps and then not necessarily be able to stick to them necessarily as much as you'd like to see as an investor. But it's nice to see, with PMX not being an investment vehicle, that with the roadmaps, it's less of let's please the shareholders and more of let's make sure that the community is solid.
Yep, 100%.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for your time, Grant. It's been really great to hear about PMX. And if you have any last comments for our viewers, be sure to let us know.
Yeah, well, this was great. I really appreciate you having me on, Andrew. We'll have to do this again. Maybe once we have those dates announced, I'll come on again and we'll do like an updated call or updated talk.
Perfect. Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Grant.
Yep. Have a good one.
What a great project. I'm really excited about Playermint, and I think that the CEO, Grant Scholl, has everything it takes to make the metaverse economy work. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to do continued coverage of Playermint as new news comes out. Thank you so much for watching till the end. See you guys in the next one.